What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another UFC Fight Night prediction here on the City Light Project YouTube channel. Be sure to tune in till the end to hear my predictions up and down the card. We'll start with the first fight on the early prelims. I will give who I think is going to win this fight, and I'll give a little detail on why. Let's get into it. Number one, Priscilla Cachoeira against Sijara Eubanks. Zombie girl, Priscilla Cachoeira, 12 wins, 4 losses, 34 years old, fighting at 135. She's on a 2-fight win streak right now. I mean, honestly, folks, for me, she hasn't really impressed me too much in her MMA career. Canadian Jillian Robertson, who just beat Rose Namajunas recently in a Fury grappling competition. And again, like, the competition that she's fought has been nothing special, but obviously, she got fed to the wolves against Valentina Shevchenko, was defeated by Molly McCann, Luana Carolina, before she finally, I think, caught her stride and was able to compete with the best. Let's be honest, she was in the UFC before she was ready, and we see that a lot in this women's division. Looking at her opponent, Sijara Eubanks, 7 wins, 7 losses, 37 years old. She's on a losing streak right now. Well, just one against Melissa Gatto. She beat Elise Reed. 2-fight losing streak before then. You can see, folks. You get the picture. Yeah. I'm going with Priscilla Cachoeira. She's come a long way. She's improved her boxing. Eubanks is a lot older. Inconsistent. Pulls out of fights. I think in the last 2 years, she's pulled out of oh, it doesn't say here. This is why I probably shouldn't have used Tapology. But I think she's pulled out of 3 or 4 fights in the last 2 years. It could even be up to 5. It was a handful. And, well, it's 500 in her MMA career at 37 years old. I'm going to have to go with Priscilla Cachoeira to win this one. Either decision and, unanimous. We all know, okay, easy win for her, or she gets the finish. Next, Charles Johnson and Jimmy Flick. Let's take a quick look at Charles Johnson here. Energy, 12-3 in his pro MMA career out of St. Louis, Missouri. He's 32 years old. Again, fighting at 125. He had a good win against Zaglas Zumagulov. And, again, split decision. It could have gone either way. But the fact that you, went the distance with this guy, the fact that you had a good fight against this guy, I mean, I watched the fight. I was thoroughly impressed. Lost to Mokaev. We all remember that one. And to be honest, it was a good fight. It was a unanimous decision. Mokaev was upset that he couldn't finish him. So I remember that fight being, it was a high-level grappling match. But Mokaev had a hard time of actually doing damage, when he was grappling him. It was mostly, offense, defense, back and forth there. And I was actually impressed with that one. Before joining the UFC, 4-fight win streak in LFA. That's no joke. That's no joke. Jimmy Flick, the Brick, 16-5, 32 years old. He is on a 4-fight win streak right now. He came into the UFC in 2020 via Contender Series and beat Cody Durden in his first fight. And everyone remembers him for this one. The flying triangle choke. Unbelievable. FCF. LFA, Contender Series, and then I went on the UFC. Yeah, this guy, he's solid. He's solid. But you know what? You know my thoughts? I'm going to say Charles Johnson. He has great takedown defense, as we saw in the Mokaev fight. Solid grappler, at least defensively, again, which we saw in the Mokaev fight. Decent striker. I didn't have anything, I don't know, of note, anything of critique rewatching that fight in his striking. Obviously, he's going to get better. He's still a younger fighter. He has to utilize his Muay Thai more, and I think he'll be able to do that against Jimmy Flick versus the likes of Mokaev, who was grappling him the whole time. What did I say in my notes? He didn't look bad against Mokaev. He didn't look bad against Mokaev. He didn't look bad against Mokaev. I think Charles Johnson via decision. Next, we have one of the funniest, I don't know why this one makes me chuckle so much, one of the funniest nicknames in MMA, the Determined Dan Argueta. If anyone watched, I believe it was Ortega Volkanovski of The Ultimate Fighter. So what was that? Season 29. He was a contestant. He's 8-1 at Albuquerque, New Mexico. 145 pounds. He's short, but he's built like a freight train. 2 wins by TKO, 4 by submission, 2 decision. Lost to Damon Jackson. No shame in that. He was on a win streak in LFA before joining the UFC. And again, unanimous decision to Damon Jackson. I watched the fight. It was a solid fight there. Nothing to be ashamed of. And again, just like the guy we talked about right before this. 4-fight win streak in the LFA before, does it even say, yeah, before the Ultimate Fighter, where he lost to Ricky Turcios, the guy who won the show. A well-rounded wrestler who can employ some good ground and pound. He has some submissions as well. Let's see what he can do against his opponent, Nick Aguirre, who's coming in on short notice. He's on a win streak, though. 7-0 win streak, 26 years old. Nick Aguirre, slick out of Illinois. To put his win streak on the line, that takes cojones, and I respect him for that. 3 wins by KO, TKO, 4 by submission, 0 by submission. Making his UFC debut. That's right. You're taking the fight on short notice. You're showing the big guys and the matchmakers anytime, anywhere, baby. That's some old school Dana White UFC. Let's hope he makes the most of it against Argueta. And he's got 3 fights as an amateur as well, where he 2 by decision, 1 rear naked choke submission. You know what? You know what? I'm going with Slick. I'm going with Nick Aguirre. Yes, that's right. It's crazy. It's crazy, I know. Argueta is solid, don't get me wrong. Good record, even after tough. He fought in the LFA. I mean, after tough, like I said, we talked about Damon Jackson. He looked good. He looked good. Aguirre is dangerous, though, at the end of the day. If he can finish Argueta, who has a pretty good chin, but if he can finish him in the first round, it'll show us this guy's the real deal. Now, again, short notice. If Argueta takes a lot of shots and, you know, Nick Slick gives it everything he has in the first round, and credit to him, that's probably what he is planning to do and what he should do, then he's probably in trouble just because, again, he didn't go through a full training camp. Both of them are good prospects. I'm excited to watch this fight. Undefeated, short notice, and still not a huge underdog. I don't know what it will be on fight night, but when I was putting this list together, it was really close. And here's the icing on the cake. 6 of his 7 wins have been by first round stoppage. Let's go, baby. Lock it in. You think that last one was controversial, folks? Ooh-wee. Here we go. Here we go. Alan Nascimento against Carlos Hernandez. Let's start with the Brazilian. Alan Nascimento, pero also 31 years old, in his athletic prime. 19 wins, 6 losses, fighting at 125. This guy's a huge 125er, folks. Like, he could honestly fight at 145, hell, probably even lightweight. Now, he'd be a smaller lightweight, I get it, but you know what I mean. 2 wins by KO, TKO. He can brawl. He's part of Shooter Box, and he trains with Charles Oliveira. 13 submissions, 4 decision victories, 19-6. 13 submission, guys. This guy's a scary Brazilian. He beat Jake Hadley too in his last fight, which, no joke, Jay Hadley's a solid fighter, solid prospect in the UFC. Beat him by unanimous decision. And you know what, folks? I thought it was unanimous decision as well when I watched that one. You know, and he's new to the UFC. He's new to the UFC. He lost against Julian Paiva, Dana White Contender Series, fought in PDA before getting the call to the UFC. I mean, I don't remember much about this split decision, to be perfectly honest, but if it was on short notice, then, you know, whatever. He got his next opportunity against an actual, you know, up-and-comer, a name for, you know, the non-casuals in Jake Hadley, and he performed tremendous in that fight. But just take note as we scroll down here, you know, streaky as he's moved up in his professional rankings. He's fought in Ryzen as well, where he lost to Yuki Motoya. And he's kind of just fought all over the place, as you can see here. But he's a veteran. That's the thing. He's a veteran. And he is a scary fighter. 13 submissions. He is scary on the ground as well. Carlos Hernandez, though, my roommate's college buddy. 8-1 as a pro out of Chicago, Illinois. 4 submissions, 4 decisions in his pro MMA career. He's riding an 8-fight win streak, baby. He beat Victor Altamirano at UFC Fight Night 202, decision, split decision. And you know what? In his post press to the media, he was pissed off. He was pissed off. You could hear in his voice, he was mad at himself. He wanted the finish. He wanted to prove to the UFC that he belongs. He wanted to make a stamp in the promotion. He didn't feel it. He did that. Happy with the win, obviously. And it was kind of the same coming off Contender Series. Split decision win with the same referee, funny enough, Chris Tognoni, in Dana White Contender Series. You know, he was able to get the call to the UFC, and he made the most of it by getting the win. But I imagine he's made the adjustments. He's prepared for submission specialist and a veteran, and that he's going to perform a lot better in the UFC for this one. Carlos Hernandez, baby. And you know what? I said it was going to be controversial. I said it was going to be controversial, and it's a tough call because he's a huge underdog, but we're going with Carlos Hernandez. We got to go with my roommate's friend, my roommate's college buddy. 8-fight win streak. You know, he is experienced. This is the big one. 13-2 as an amateur. He's committed to fighting, and he did it, you know, before even getting paid at a young age. An athlete his whole life, soccer player, wrestler. He played all the sports. Joe was telling me he's played all the sports. And I think he's dialed to make the adjustments. Nascimento is good. This is a huge test for Carlos Hernandez. Again, Nascimento is huge for the division. Carlos Hernandez not as big for the division. I mean, this is his weight class. I mean, he might end up at 135 if he keeps fighting in his career. Who knows? But you know what I mean. Nascimento's inconsistent as well, and there's nothing inconsistent about an 8-fight win streak. Let's go with the underdog, Carlos Hernandez, baby. Next, we have Javid Basharat against Mateus Mendonça, the Snow Leopard, 27 years old, 13-0, baby. 5 KO, TKO, 6 submissions, 2 decision victories, fighting at 135. This guy out of Extreme Couture now. I mean, can you put together a more balanced fighter just looking at his record? Just entering his athletic prime. His younger brother just won on Contender Series this season as well, and that's how he entered the UFC, was via Contender Series in 2021, where his brother just entered this last season in 2022. Beat Trevin Jones, beat Tony Gravely. Unanimous decision, but let me tell you, the decisions, they were unanimous because he bullied the guys, and it was a very dominant win. He's fought in various promotions, folks, but he's been dominant in every single one of his fights, like you can see here. Very well-rounded. He's a great prospect, just entering his prime, and I imagine he'll enter the rankings this year. Jeez, what are we talking about? The PFL? Javid Basharat, the Snow Leopard. His opponent, Mateus Mendonça, 23 years old. He's a prospect as well, but he's a lot more green. He's a lot less experienced, if you ask me. I know he's also on a win streak, 10-0, and he's pretty balanced as well. 3 KO, TKO, 4 submission, and 3 decision. Yes, he's out of shooter box as well, so trains with the likes of Charles Oliveira and Nascimento. Look, it's going to be a good fight. This guy's he's an absolute killer. I watched him on Contender Series. We watched them all together. Don't forget to check out our live streams we do every week on the channel, folks. Once Contender Series starts again, we'll get right back at those. Back to this fight, though. Unbelievable KO on Contender Series this last season. He's fought in Future FC primarily. Look, he's a prospect. But I think Basharat is just a little... I think it might be a little too much. As you can clearly see, I think Javid Basharat's going to take this one. He's got the swag, he's got the skill, he's got the instinct to dominate, ladies and gentlemen. Comfortable fighter. Like, he makes it... I don't want to say he makes it look easy, but he makes it look easy. He's comfortable in there. He knows it's his job. And I really, truly think he loves to beat the shit out of people. 23-year-old opponent. Yeah, he's talented. Yes, I think he actually will do good in the UFC. I just don't think... I mean, this is unfair for the kid, man. You're throwing him... it's not quite the deep end, but it's like... It's just above, like... It's just above his hips, right? You got to give him an ankle opponent to start here. We're going with Javid Basharat. Next, Mateus Rebecki against Nick Fiore. Mateus Rebecki, 16-1 out of Poland. Man, these Polish fighters are taking over the UFC, and I absolutely love it. He is 30 years old. He's just entered his athletic prime. Lightweight, ladies and gentlemen, and talk about a balanced fighter. 8 KO, TKO, 6 submissions, 2 decision victories. My goodness. Came through Contender Series, I should say, week 6 of this last season. And again, check out our live streams when Contender Series starts back up. We're really excited for those fight companions this next season. Beat Rodrigo Lidio via submission, rear naked choke, as you can see on the screen here. And man, first round, easy win for him. Absolutely dominated his opponent. Fought in FEN, which is a fine promotion. I think we're actually going to be doing an FEN live stream coming up here. Battlefield FC, all over the places, but he's a solid prospect, folks. I mean, the MMA Guru was swooning over him, and pretty much if you look at anyone's prediction list on YouTube, everyone's very high on Rebecki. Nick Fiore, though, undefeated, 6-0, so not quite the record of his opponent, but hey, 25 years old, 2 KO, TKO, 4 submissions, so he finishes his opponents, has never won via decision. He's a jiu-jitsu guy, Renzo Gracie jiu-jitsu, and part of the New England cartel as well. So the guy can box, the guy can grapple. Making his UFC debut, Nick Fiore. Talk about feeding someone to the wolves, folks. Nick Fiore is going to get absolutely demolished. His leg's going to get bitten off. His arm's going to get bitten off. His face is going to get ripped off. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, Mateus Rebecca, man. Easy win. Easy win. He's fought killers on the way up. Easy win. Mateus Rebecca. Lock it in. Cha-ching. Next, Claudio Ribeiro against Abdul Razak Alhassan. Claudio Ribeiro, 10-2. He's 30 years old. 10 KO TKOs. This guy has knocked out every opponent that he has beaten in mixed martial arts. He's come through Contender Series where, surprise, surprise, KO victory. 25 seconds in the first round. Go check out my reaction to that back on our live videos, which we all post after we stream them. He's fought in Future FCs. He's fought in Thunder Fights. He's fought in Standout Fighting Tournament and Elite Fight Night. Again, not a lot of UFC experience, but he is a knockout artist at middleweight, Claudio Ribeiro. Looking at his opponent out of Arlington, Texas, baby, the Judo Thunder, 11-5, Abdul Razak Alhassan. You know, talk about a knockout artist himself. I don't care if he's 37, folks. 11 of his wins have come by KO, TKO, and this guy's experienced. Yeah, he lost decision, split decision to Joaquin Buckley at UFC Fight Night 201, and I know his win streak is his record. It's not that good, okay? 1-4 in his last 5 fights. I get it, but they're decently hard opponents. He beat Nico Price, Saba Homasi twice actually in a row, where he beat him by KO and TKO, because obviously all his wins have come by KO and TKO. I mean, he's a dangerous veteran, okay? He's not like top competition, but he's a dangerous veteran. Judo Thunder. At 37 years old, this guy can still bang. You know, despite Claudio Ribeiro having not proved himself at the highest level, whereas you look at his opponent, Abdul Razak Alhassan, just 100% has, you know, a veteran of the UFC, Bellator. I mean, he's 37 years old. He's been fighting for a while. I still think Ribeiro gets it done here. I still think he gets it done. He's an up-and-comer against a veteran. Yes, I get it. Judo Thunder. He's dangerous. He's a dangerous veteran, as dangerous as they get with someone who has that type of finishing power. And he ain't a bad fighter. I wrote my notes. He's not terrible at all. I have verbose notes, folks. Sue me. But I think ultimately Claudio Ribeiro is going to get it done. He has power himself. Claudio Ribeiro, 7th fight of the night, locking it in. Moving right along, Umar Nurmagomedov against Raoni Barcelos. Umar Nurmagomedov, the nephew of Khabib Nurmagomedov, 26 years old, 15-0, baby, fighting at 135. 1 KO TKO, 7 submission, 7 decision. Very Dagestani. He is undefeated, like we said, folks, and he's 3-0 currently in the UFC. 2 of those wins have come by submission, 1 unanimous decision where he absolutely manhandled Manus. Look, the guy's an absolute stud. What do you want me to say? He's been in the PFL, which it's a solid league, and he's fought all around the world in different promotions as well. But that's the key note. Like, before coming to the UFC, he was in one of the other great promotions out there, and he won in both his fights there as well. I mean, he's not disappointing his family name at all. Umar the prospect Nurmagomedov. Barcelos here, 17-3, 35 years old, so a hell of a veteran. Again, prospect against veteran, but this is a great test for Umar Nurmagomedov. 8 KO TKO, 2 submissions, 7 decisions, so a well-rounded fighter indeed. He won his last fight against Trevin Jones. Before them, was on a 2-fight losing streak, but before then, holy shit, folks. Look, fought in RFA, and very much a UFC veteran now as well. He only has 2 losses in the UFC. The odds have this in a crazy in favor for Nurmagomedov. I think it's going to be a harder fight for him than the betting lines say. Having said that, my official pick is going to be Umar Nurmagomedov. Look, if you're a betting man or woman, drop some money on Barcelos, because this could be the upset victory, honestly, because like, it is not set in stone that he's going to lose to Nurmagomedov. The guy can grapple. Now, again, it's a great test for Nurmagomedov. We get to see now, okay, where he's landing truly in the UFC rankings, or just outside of the rankings, but as he moves up in his career. I think it's a great matchup. I do not want to count out Barcelos at all. That's what I'm saying. Bet on him. Even like $10, $100, drop something on him. I think he's like plus 500 or something like that. Odds are definitely skewed because of the Nurmagomedov name. It's going to be a competitive fight. Solid underdog. And, oh yeah, Barcelos. He's beaten Nurmagomedov before, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, he beat Syed Nurmagomedov. So maybe he has the answers. Maybe he has the answers. But yeah, like I said, Umar is my pick. Amazing prospect. But he's not going to dominate like he has before. Again, locking it in, Umar Nurmagomedov. Next, we have Vieira against Raquel Pennington. Vieira, phenomenal. 13-2. She's 31 years old, fighting at 135. 2 KO, TKO, 4 submissions, 7 decisions. She's on a 2-fight winning streak, beating 2 veterans of the game, Miesha Tate, Holly Holm. Look, she's a legit fighter, and she's come a long way, both in her UFC career and in her pro fighting career. Most of her fights have been in the UFC, and once entering the UFC, she did go on a 4-fight win streak before losing to, again, Irene Aldana, solid fighter, lost to beat Eubanks, solid fighter as well, and eventually gets back on a 2-fight win streak. Looking at her opponent, Raquel Rocky Pennington, 14-8 pro MMA record, 34 years old, 1 KO, TKO, 4 submissions, 9 decisions. Again, a veteran of the UFC. She's on a 4-fight win streak, and a respectable 4-fight win streak, beating Aspen Ladd, Macy Chesson, Pani Kianzad, and Marion Renault. Look, lost to Holly Holm in 2020, beat Irene Aldana, lost to Amanda Nunes. I mean, there's no shame in that. Beat Miesha Tate back in 2016 as well. Again, solid fighter, solid career. And you know what? I have to pick her. I have to pick her. I know a lot of people, on YouTube doing their predictions. A lot of the MMA channels, they're going for Vieira. They think that it's her time. She's in her prime right now. Pennington is, closer to the way out than she is at the peak of her career anymore. But I think she's a solid underdog. Vieira, she's getting better. She's getting better. Pennington's a tough test for her. I think Pennington is going to win, and I think her game plan is going to be to stand and bang. Stand and bang. That's the only way I think she's gonna win. She can't grapple here. Let's make it a scrap, and I think she wins by decision. Raquel Pennington, get it done. Great underdog. Let's go. Sorry, I was thirsty. Next, we have Punahele Soriano against Roman Kopylov. Soriano, Storytime Soriano, out of Wailua, Hawaii. Let's go, baby. 30 years old, 9 wins, 2 losses, and this guy's got power in those mitts, ladies and gentlemen. Fighting at 185, middleweight. He's out of Extreme Couture, 6 KO, TKO, 2 submissions, 1 decision. He won his last fight on UFC on ABC 3. Before then was on a 2-fight losing streak. But again, growing pains, ladies and gentlemen, growing pains. Coming off Contender Series where he beat Jamie Pickett. He went on a 2-fight win streak, then a 2-fight losing streak, back in the win column, looking to extend that again, is Storytime Soriano. His opponent, Roman Kopylov, 31 years old, 9 wins, 2 losses. 8 of his wins have come by KO, TKO. He also has 1 win by decision. He won his last fight via KO on UFC Fight Night 209 in France. Before that was on a 2-fight losing streak where he lost unanimous decision, where he lost rear naked choke. Before entering the UFC, he was on a win streak and undefeated. So we're 1-2 in the UFC. This could be, one of his last chances to really prove himself at the highest level. And you know what, ladies and gentlemen? I hope he proves it to me as well, because Kopylov is my pick. Kopylov is my pick. Roman Kopylov, that is who I'm picking to win this one. Look, this is a dangerous one because he probably could get knocked out in the first round because he likes to play with his food. He likes to download data. He likes to dance and be very technical in his striking in the first round. This guy's got cardio for days. He'll go 3 rounds. He'll go 5 rounds if he ever has a main event and be fine. The issue, he takes too many shots in the first, hell, even in the early second round before he really puts together the pieces and, okay, until I have the timing perfect, I'm not just going to go for it. Very technical striker. And I really like his style overall. I hate that kind of lapse in his game, but when he's on, he's on. And that's why I'm picking him in this one. He can go late in rounds. I don't know if his opponent can. He's patient. He'll pick his shots better. He's got knockout power. Obviously, 8 of his 9 wins have come by knockout. So if he does clip you, you could go down. And since he's so technical, since I think he's gonna, well, I think he has trained on getting better in not getting hit so much in the first round before actually going for it, I think, hopefully, cross my fingers, knock on wood, he actually puts together a better game plan for this one and utilizes his skills better. If he keeps it on his feet, he's going to win by knockout. I really don't even think this is going to the decision, but if it does, because he has the cardio, he's still my pick. Let's go, baby. Roman Kopylov. Co-main event of the evening, and this one should be a banger, ladies and gentlemen. Dan Ige against Damon Jackson. Dan Ige, 50K. Dan Ige out of Honolulu, Hawaii. Trains out of Extreme Couture. 15-6. 4 KO, TKO, 5 submissions, 6 decisions. Now, he's on a 3-fight losing streak, but look at the guys he has fought. And the last fight was an absolute war, ladies and gentlemen. Movsar Evelev, awesome fight, awesome fight. He lost via unanimous decision. He lost to Josh Emmett via unanimous decision, but honestly, that was an awesome fight as well. That was an absolute war. And there's no shame losing to the Korean zombie. Chan Sung-Uni lost by unanimous decision. This guy doesn't get knocked out, ladies and gentlemen. This guy doesn't get knocked out. Before then, he was in the win column against Gavin Tucker, and his only other, notable loss before going on this 3-fight losing streak was Calvin Kattar. Unanimous decision again. Kattar couldn't even put him away. He beat Barbosa. He beat Bektik. He beat Kevin Aguilar. He beat Danny Henry. He beat Jordan Griffin and Mike Santiago, all in the UFC. He came off early Contender Series, beat Luis Gomez, lost to Julia Arce, and then went on his win streak, which, made him somewhat of a name where he's headlined fight nights before. Dan Ige, ladies and gentlemen. Damon Action Jackson, ladies and gentlemen, changed his nickname for his brother who passed away recently. I believe it was just a few days before his last win too. 34 years old, Damon Jackson, what an absolute beauty. 22 wins, 4 losses, 4 KO, TKO, 15 submissions, 3 decisions, 1 draw, 1 no contest. Changed out of Fortis MMA, and he's on a 4-fight win streak. Pat Sabatini, Dan Argueta, Kamulea Kirk, and Charles Rosa. Some solid wins there. I know Dan Argueta, he was a young fighter right off Contender Series fighting in the UFC. Pat Sabatini, he's a solid fighter as well, where he beat by TKO. Look, the guy is a solid grappler. The guy has a solid wrestling background. And honestly, later in his career, Damon Jackson, Action Jackson, has been able to find success on the feet. 2, wrestlers turned mixed martial artists overall, and I think both of these fighters are true mixed martial artists. Yeah, they're good grapplers, don't get me wrong, you never forget your wrestling roots, but I think for the most part, Ige can stand and bang, Action Jackson can stand and bang, both of them can grapple, both of them are threats as far as submissions go. Having said that, I think Dan Ige is going to get back in the win column, folks. I'm picking Dan Ige to win. I'm picking Dan Ige to win. Damon is good, but not great. He did get destroyed by Ilia Topuria. Tough test for Dan Ige, but Jackson will probably rely on his wrestling, let's be honest. Look, I said he can stand and bang. I like that he's added that tool to his game, but Dan Ige is the better striker, and if Dan Ige can keep this on the feet, which I think he can because he does have good wrestling and takedown defense, I don't think it's good for Action Jackson. Ige is younger, he's motivated, he has to get back in the win column in his mind. All the tools in his belt, and he has all the tools to beat a fighter like Damon Jackson. He had a close fight with Emmett, like I said. Close with the Korean zombie. Those could have gone either way. I think this one, though, goes in one direction, and that is for Dan Ige. Let's get to the final fight on the card, folks.
It's time!
The main event of the evening, Sean Strickland against Nassourdine Imavov. Again, Sean Strickland taking this fight on super short notice as Kelvin Gastelum had to back out just shy of 2 weeks before this fight. You know what's crazy about this is Sean Strickland, his last fight was the last fight the UFC had in 2022. So back-to-back headliners for fight nights. This is unheard of. This is crazy. Tarzan Sean Strickland was flipping snowmobiles just last week on Instagram, but now he is back. He is back. The 31-year-old, 25 wins, 5 losses, 10 KO TKOs, 4 submissions, 11 decisions, is the middleweight. They are fighting at 205 because Sean Strickland couldn't make weight, but obviously this fight has implications for the middleweight division. He lost to Jared Cannonier in a close split decision. It could have gone either way. Again, just 1 month ago. Before then, he no shame getting knocked out to Alex Pereira. Before then was on a nice winning streak where he beat Jack Hermanson, Uriah Hall, Christoph Jodko, Brandon Allen, Jack Marshman, Nourdine Talib. I mean, like some solid fighters in the UFC. And for Nassourdine Imavov, going up against a guy who's ranked, what, twice as high as him in Strickland, that is a great opportunity. Strickland, he's here to take a paycheck, baby, but the guy always likes to scrap. Nassourdine Imavov, I know all of our friends who follow us, on the Eris stream, shout out to the live stream, shout out to the Eris live stream, shout out to all of you French MMA fans who join us on the channel. I know you'll be rooting for the prospect, the 27-year-old Nassourdine Imavov, 12-3 pro MMA record, 5 KO TKO, 4 submission, 3 decision. He's on a 3-fight win streak. Joaquin Buckley, Edmund Shabazian, and Ian Henish. 3 solid wins. And before joining the UFC, fought in Eris's first ever show where he got a win. Then he beat Jordan Williams in the UFC. Lost to Phil Hawes, majority decision. He didn't get finished by him. No shame there before going on a 3-fight win streak. Again, he's ranked and he's going up against the guy on short notice, unprepared, did not have a full fight camp. And this could, I mean, I don't think he's going to take his ranking. I don't think he's going to jump that high, especially since they are fighting at 205. Again, that's not his fault. I still think he will move up significantly in the rankings if he does defeat Sean Strickland. All right. You guys want to hear my pick? Quickly, if you haven't already, before I reveal my pick, if you haven't, like this video and subscribe to the channel. Ring that bell for notifications so you never miss a live stream and you never miss an upload. We do live streams every weekend, up to 5 streams every weekend. So don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know if you want me to do more predictions for other promotions as well. Okay, let's get to the main event of the evening. I think Nassourdine Imavov is going to win this one. Now, look, if Sean Strickland had a full fight camp, if they both had a full fight camp, if they're both fighting at 185, and I know they are both fighting at 205, but you know what I mean. I think Strickland would take this one, but I think Imavov, he's prepared. He's prepared, and he's going to go in there. And though Strickland's going to go in there and take his money and then go on a snowboarding trip, you know, knock on wood, he's okay after this one. Imavov, he's going to seize this opportunity. No way he gets outpaced or out-wrestled. And, I mean, back-to-back main events for Strickland. It's hilarious. This is a great opportunity for Imavov to, like I said, rise a bit in the rankings and actually get his name out there. Because Sean Strickland just has, like, casual fans as well. The guy's a fucking character. Look at his last press conference. It's just mind-blowing the way he just answers questions, if you can even call them answers. I don't even have too many notes on this one. I think TKO. Imavov wins this one again. If they run it back ever with full camps, I'm probably giving it to Strickland. This is a great opportunity for Imavov, and I think he takes it. My pick for the main event of the evening, Nassourdine Imavov. And to be perfectly honest, I had him winning against Kelvin Gastelum as well. Again, folks, that's it for the predictions. Like and subscribe, and I will see you this weekend on the live stream.